$330 million disappeared in the blink of an eye. No alarms were triggered, no encryption broken, no passwords cracked. Yet we're now looking at the fifth largest crypto heist in history. What makes this heist so remarkable isn't just the amount stolen, it's how it was taken. On April 28th, the digital breadcrumbs of this heist first appeared when blockchain detective ZachXBT noticed something odd on crypto Twitter. Unusual movements from a dormant Bitcoin wallet that had been quietly accumulating wealth since 2017. A staggering 3,520 Bitcoin, worth $330 million, had suddenly transferred from a long-term holder's wallet. Later investigation revealed the shocking truth. The entire fortune was stolen through what security experts call social engineering, the dark art of manipulating people, not technology. Instead of breaking into systems, these thieves broke into the victim's trust. They created convincing fake websites mimicking legitimate crypto platforms and made persuasive voice calls posing as security experts. Through these carefully crafted deceptions, they convinced the elderly victim to reveal their private keys or login credentials. No malware or smart contracts needed, just pure psychological manipulation. And the most chilling part? If it could happen to them, it could happen to any of us. But stealing the Bitcoin was impressive. Making it untraceable was brilliant. Now here's a question. What would you do if you suddenly had $330 million of stolen Bitcoin? Most people would panic, maybe make a few hasty transfers and leave a trail of digital breadcrumbs for investigators to follow. Not these thieves. They executed their escape plan with absolute precision. That's what these thieves attempted. Within minutes, they shattered the $330 million Bitcoin into hundreds of smaller 50 to 100 BTC fragments, like breaking a giant diamond into countless smaller stones. These fragments raced through 6 different instant swap exchanges simultaneously. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. They willingly sacrificed millions of dollars in fees, paying a premium of 1 to 3% per transaction, choosing speed and anonymity over maximum profit. Think about that level of discipline. Would you willingly give up millions just to cover your tracks? You see, these instant swap exchanges they used aren't like Coinbase or Binance where you need to upload your ID, take selfies, and practically give your life story. These services don't hold customer funds and, crucially, don't require what they call KYC or Know Your Customer verification. No identity checks, no questions asked. But the transformation didn't end there. Like a magician's final act, they converted everything into cryptocurrency's ultimate disappearing ink, Monero. Now, why Monero, you may ask? It's a dino coin no one really talks about. Every payment in Monero uses invisible addresses that hide who receives the funds. Every transaction is mixed with decoys, making it impossible to tell which movement is real and which is a ghost. Even the amounts themselves are completely hidden from view. When Bitcoin transforms into Monero, it's like watching money vanish into a financial black hole. The digital trail that investigators typically follow simply evaporates, as if it never existed at all. But how do we even know this was a theft in the first place? Couldn't it simply be a criminal group moving their own funds? Perhaps this was just someone deliberately evading taxes. ZachXBT's answer reveals the subtle art of blockchain forensics. When you see a longtime Bitcoin holder who typically uses regulated exchanges like Gemini or Coinbase suddenly transfer $330 million in small increments to instant exchanges, creating hundreds of orders and willingly losing millions in fees, you're witnessing behavior that makes absolutely no sense for a legitimate owner. It's like watching someone deliberately smash their Ferrari's windows before selling it for half its value. No rational actor willingly throws away millions in unnecessary fees and transaction costs unless they're desperate to hide the source of those funds. But here's where the perfect crime developed its first crack. When they dumped hundreds of millions into Monero all at once, something unexpected happened. The price of this obscure privacy coin exploded 50% in mere hours, rocketing from $227 to $390. It was like trying to disappear in a crowded room by setting off fireworks. The market itself betrayed them, creating a neon sign pointing directly at their activities. The irony is almost poetic. Their desperate attempt at invisibility made them more visible than ever. Why did this happen? Monero has become increasingly isolated in the crypto world. Major exchanges like OKX, Kraken, and Binance EU have been purging privacy coins from their platforms under pressure from regulators who fear their potential for illicit use. With fewer places to trade and thinner markets, when our thieves flooded in with their stolen fortune, the market couldn't absorb it quietly. And then 2 days later, on April 30th, blockchain detective Zach XBT confirmed what many suspected. The victim was an elderly person from the US who had fallen prey to the oldest weapon in the criminal arsenal, not malware or hacking tools, but trust. And behind the scenes, the digital underground was buzzing with activity. Investigators at Hacken watched in real time as the stolen treasure scattered across the digital landscape. Over 300 different wallets, more than 20 exchanges and payment services. Their tracking systems followed $284 million as it bounced through this elaborate maze, leaving only about $60 million visible after all the twists and turns through shadowy, low-reputation exchanges. In a small victory amidst this financial disaster, Zach XBT and Binance's security team managed to freeze around $7 million of the stolen funds, a drop in the ocean of what was taken, but a critical first step. This demonstrates the power of coordinated efforts between private investigators and major platforms in combating crypto crime. Unfortunately, once funds are converted to Monero, recovery becomes nearly impossible, highlighting a major vulnerability in our digital financial system. The digital breadcrumbs point to a group called CMF, the Camden Mali Fraudsters, and at the heart of this sits a figure known only as Nina/Mo, who allegedly orchestrates a call center in Camden, UK. Alongside works an accomplice identified as W0RK, the digital architect who crafted the fraudulent websites and managed the calls that ultimately convinced an elderly investor to hand over the keys to their digital fortune. In the aftermath, both suspects tried to vanish, deleting social media accounts, cutting connections, erasing their online presence. But in the digital age, disappearing completely is nearly impossible. Every comment, every post, every interaction leaves behind a ghost, a digital fingerprint that never fully fades. Some yappers on crypto Twitter initially pointed fingers at the infamous Lazarus Group, North Korea's elite digital heist team responsible for that staggering 1.5 billion Bybit hack earlier this year. But Zach XBT quickly dismissed the connection. The approach was too different, too personal, lacking the cold, technical precision that is Lazarus's calling card. How did these thieves even find their victim? According to Zach XBT, they likely pieced together fragments of private data leaks, little digital breadcrumbs we all leave scattered across the internet. These fragments painted a portrait of the perfect target. So what can we take from this story to protect ourselves? Think about that moment when you receive a call or message about your money or investments. Your first instinct might be trust, but pause and ask yourself, who actually initiated this conversation? What immediate action are they pushing me to take? And most importantly, what would happen if I simply waited 24 hours before deciding? The most effective defense might be what security experts call an authentication firewall. Never use the contact information provided in the message itself. Instead, hang up, close the email, and independently reach out through official channels you already know and trust. Remember how these attackers isolated their elderly victim? That's a classic tactic. They create bubbles of urgency and secrecy, cutting you off from the people who might otherwise say, wait, this doesn't sound right. Building a trusted circle of advisors who can provide a reality check might be your strongest protection. While crypto security expert Hakan Unal recommends technical safeguards like multi-signature wallets, offline storage, and regular key rotation, perhaps the most powerful shield is something we all possess: awareness. In this new digital gold rush, the most valuable tool isn't your encryption or your complex password. It's your ability to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate your thinking. Look, if you found value in this breakdown, hit that subscribe button right now. This isn't just about likes. It's about building a community that protects each other. And if this kind of breakdown resonated with you, let me know in the comments what other crypto-related topics you want me to explore next, and I'll see you in the next one.